The Zulu Wars, often overshadowed by the broader narrative of the British Empire's imperial conquests, represent one of the most intense and culturally significant conflicts of the 19th century. This series of clashes between the British Empire and the Zulu Kingdom didn't just shape the future of southern Africa but also highlighted the vast differences between European military strategies and African traditional warfare. These wars were more than just battles, they were a clash of cultures, ideologies, and military techniques. As we delve into the history of the Zulu Wars, we'll uncover the complex layers of power, pride, and tragedy that characterize this conflict. The roots of the Zulu Wars trace back to the late 19th century when British colonial expansion in southern Africa was well underway. At the time, the British Empire was seeking to consolidate its control over the region, which had been fragmented into various independent kingdoms and territories. The Zulu Kingdom, under the rule of King Cetshwayo, stood as one of the most formidable and organized powers in the area, and the British were determined to bring it under their influence. What they didn't anticipate was the fierce resistance they would face from a people who had been meticulously organized for warfare, and whose military prowess was unmatched in the region. The story of the Zulu Wars begins with the increasing tension between the Zulu Kingdom and the British Empire. By the mid-1800s, the British had already established control over much of the region, including the Cape Colony, Natal, and parts of the Transvaal. However, the Zulu Kingdom, which had grown to become one of the largest and most powerful states in southern Africa, remained independent. The Zulu people, led by their king, Cetshwayo, were fiercely proud of their autonomy and were unwilling to submit to British rule. The British, led by Sir Bartle Frere, sought to extend their influence into Zululand, demanding that Cetshwayo accept British control. This ultimatum was presented to the Zulu king in December of 1878. The Zulu people, aware of the British threat, rejected the ultimatum and prepared for war. This marked the beginning of what would become known as the Anglo-Zulu War, a conflict that would see brutal battles, unexpected victories, and devastating losses. The first major confrontation came in January 1879, when the British forces, under the command of Lord Chelmsford, marched into Zululand. The British Army was confident, believing that their advanced weaponry and superior tactics would easily crush the Zulu forces. However, they underestimated the Zulu warriors' skill, discipline, and resolve. The Zulu army, though smaller in number, was highly organized, with warriors trained in close combat and armed with traditional weapons such as spears and shields. The British had modern firearms, but the Zulu forces relied on speed, agility, and the element of surprise. At the Battle of Isandlwana, one of the most significant engagements of the war, the Zulu warriors delivered a crushing blow to the British forces. The British, who had been overconfident, were caught off guard by the Zulu tactics. The Zulu army surrounded the British camp, and within a few hours, over 1,300 British soldiers were killed, making it one of the worst defeats ever suffered by the British Army at the time. The victory was a stunning display of Zulu military prowess and a stark reminder that the Zulu people were not easily subdued. The British, humiliated by the loss, regrouped and launched a series of retaliatory attacks. They were determined to avenge the defeat at Isandlwana and break the Zulu resistance. In March of 1879, the British forces, bolstered by reinforcements, marched on the Zulu capital of Ulundi. The Zulu, under King Cetshwayo, made a final stand at Ulundi, but they were ultimately overwhelmed by the British forces' superior firepower and tactics. The fall of Ulundi marked the end of the war, and the Zulu Kingdom was subsequently annexed by the British Empire. While the British emerged victorious, the Zulu Wars left a lasting impact on both the British and Zulu peoples. For the British, the war was a costly victory, as they had underestimated the tenacity and strength of the Zulu warriors. The defeat at Isandlwana was a bitter reminder of the unpredictability of war and the resilience of the people they sought to conquer. For the Zulu people, the wars represented a devastating loss of life, land, and independence. The fall of the Zulu Kingdom marked the beginning of a new era of British colonial rule in southern Africa, one that would have profound consequences for the Zulu people and the entire region. The Zulu Wars also had significant cultural implications. The British military, with its advanced technology and tactics, had a starkly different approach to warfare than the Zulu. The British relied on firearms, artillery, and formal battle strategies, while the Zulu fought with close combat tactics, relying on their speed and agility. This contrast in military strategies was a reflection of the broader cultural differences between the two sides. For the Zulu, war was not just a matter of strategy. It was a cultural expression, an embodiment of their values, honor, and pride. For the British, it was a matter of conquest, expansion, and the belief in their own superiority. The Zulu Wars also had a lasting legacy on the relationship between the British Empire and the indigenous peoples of southern Africa. The defeat of the Zulu people at Ulundi marked the end of their resistance to British colonialism, but it also signaled the beginning of a new chapter in the history of southern Africa. The British would go on to consolidate their control over the region, but the memory of the Zulu resistance and the bravery of the warriors who fought in the war would never be forgotten. The Zulu Wars, with their mix of tragedy, heroism, and cultural clash, remain an essential chapter in the history of southern Africa. They are a reminder of the complexities of colonialism, the resilience of indigenous peoples, and the enduring power of cultural identity. As we reflect on this conflict, it is important to remember the bravery of the Zulu warriors, who fought against overwhelming odds to protect their land, their people, and their way of life. Their story is one of resistance, pride, and courage, and it continues to resonate today as a testament to the enduring strength of the Zulu spirit.